Tuesday, July 11th, and it is 8:35. 7:39.
Okay.
Please rise for the invocation given by Councilwoman Sarah Lucido. Remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear God, we are grateful for the many blessings that you provide for us. Please watch over the citizens of Eastpointe as summer starts to warm up. It is in your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Here.
Councilmember Kleinfeld?
Here.
Councilmember Lucido?
Here.
Mayor Pixley?
Here. Our next item is a hearing of the public. Does anyone wish to be heard? Oh, lots of people. Please, ma'am. Oh, Mr. Mann.
Patrick Mann, resident, taxpayer, voter. I've been a council watcher for many years and observed the actions of many of those elected part-time representatives of Eastpointe. Most of the time they get it right, but not this time. Nothing I have to say tonight will change anything, but I will speak my mind on this. We have employed many managers, some good, some questionable, but only 2 managers that I know of that were outstanding in their performance and knowledge of the operation of the city. Both were fired because they would not be bullied into doing what was not right for Eastpointe. If this council was serious about going in a new direction, Mr. Duchesne would be the most knowledgeable person to take him in that direction. If it's a new direction this council wishes to go, count on the next election. Time for us to take the next 3 of you in that direction. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mann. Ma'am.
Hello, I am Yvonne Nikai Thomas, YVONNE-NIKI-THOMAS. I live at 17416 Collinson, COLLINSON, East Point, and I've lived here since October 2001. There's a problem I'm experiencing in my neighborhood that is getting worse and worse as each year go by. And that problem is fireworks. I believe that the use of fireworks in our residential neighborhood should be limited to the day of the holiday and also should be limited in the number of hours they are being set off on the holiday. And the reason it is posing a problem is because, one, the fireworks are set off days prior to the holiday and days after the holiday. 2, the loud noises interfere with outdoor activities, especially when it involves combat veterans suffering with post-traumatic stress disorder. 3, the little ashes, the fiery ashes that land on the vehicles that are parked outside damage the hoods of the vehicles. And 4, it leaves trash all in the street, in the front yard, on the front porch, in the driveway, in the backyard, on the back patio, and in my backyard garden. The day after the holiday, I picked up this trash, and because it kept going all the way through the weekend, I still have more trash out in the street and all over my house. I do have some suggested solutions, as I stated previously, limited to the holiday only and within a certain amount of time. Possibly the neighbors could set off the fireworks in the park somewhere, or maybe they can donate the fireworks to the city where the city can have fireworks displays. It's just that as each year go by, this problem setting off the fireworks is getting worse and worse in the neighborhood. There's 30 houses on my block. This is just one city block. If everyone put their trash in this bag, we'd have about 4 or 5 bags. That's just one city block. Look how it's trashing up our city. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else wish to be heard? Mr. Creech? Speech.
Madam Mayor, Council, and residents, Harvey Creech, resident of Eastpointe. I come here as a matter of due diligence as a resident. In the budget of 2016 and 2017, under capital improvement, on page 171, it says Parks and Trails, which is our parks. It says renovation of Memorial Park building of $250,000. It says renovation of Patriot Building, Spender Park, $175,000. Both buildings listed above need to be completely renovated based on the condition of the buildings. Memorial Park building has deteriorated over the decade and has no major repairs to it and now needs to be gutted and rebuilt inside the building. The Patriot Building is now being renovated to change the function of the building and repair aspects of buildings have also deteriorated over time. This project will lower the maintenance cost that can be done, which is effective based on the conditions of the building. We just got done going through dangerous buildings. About a year ago, I approached the city and asked them the same question about that. That building at Memorial Park didn't even have any bathrooms in it. I addressed the Mary. I went over there and I said, I went to Memorial Park. I'm glad, I mean, she responded to this but right here it says, no bathrooms. No bathrooms. Restroom facilities. Renovations were going to be done.
I said, no shower.
It says no bathroom.
They had bathrooms.
It says no bathroom, restroom. Not shower. It says no bathroom. No bathroom. Restroom facilities. None. They weren't there. The same thing about it. The plumbing was laying on the floor. The stall doors are off. The walls are kicked in.
We're fixing it.
This is Memorial Park, the building. There was $250,000 worth of capital improvement that was supposed to be done on that. The council approved it. This is 2016, 2017. This is 2018. I met with people. I've gone through a lot of this. I don't understand. All the rest of the capital improvements were done. And then I go, let's put it this way. I'll try not to get really totally upset, but I want to know where $425,000 of capital improvement money that was supposed to be appropriated through this council went last year. And all of a sudden, I get in touch with a public official. I talk to him. He tells me that we had signs, $80,000 worth of signs. And I asked him where the money come from. He said he come to the council knowingly, and the council knows that $80,000 come out of this renovation that was supposed to be done for Memorial Park building. Memorial Park building did not get opened until a week and a half ago. And the only reason it got opened up is I went down there. We have 4 porta-johns on the premises. People were working there and going there. They had no sanitizers in them whatsoever. Nothing. And we're talking about what we want this city to do.
Your time is almost up.
We have a recreation administration last year for $621,000. Right now, I discussed this the last time we were here. East Detroit Recreation is a private entity. The Rare is a private entity. Roseville is a private entity. We need a recreation committee to make sure this stuff gets done. Our parks, we have 10 horseshoe pits, no horseshoes. We have 6 shuffleboard courts, no shuffleboard equipment. We have volleyballs. No lollyballs.
Your time is up.
I'll be back, Mayor. Thank you.
I want to see that email. I don't ever remember answering him on email.
I think he said something about Mary.
It's got to be Mary, it wasn't me.
Good evening.
Please state your name.
I am Kim Van Gorder, and I live at 22462 Raven, and I'm a longtime resident of the city of Eastpointe. I am here tonight to ask the council to consider adopting a dog tethering ordinance, similar, if not the same, as the new tethering ordinance in Detroit. The city of Warren is currently working on a tethering ordinance at this time also. I am here because of two of my neighbors who keep their dogs tethered outside, chained to fences 24/7. Most upsetting has been my next-door neighbor who thinks nothing of leaving his puppy chained to the fence without food, water, or shelter for days at a time while he is away. Our animal control officer had given him many warnings and finally a citation. He was better for a short time, but just a couple of weekends ago, he left his dog again for days. This dog has to stand in his own feces because he has nowhere to go. It is heartbreaking to hear him cry night and day. The other dog at the opposite end of the block appears to have given up hope. He lays in his dirt hole, lifts his head, then curls back into his hole. The neighbors near him tell me that they have repeatedly called the police, but nothing ever gets better for this poor dog. We need to stand up and speak out for those who cannot speak for themselves. Our elected officials have the responsibility to protect animals as much as they protect their residents. Together, we can accomplish great strides toward our common goal of protecting every animal in our city. Thank you for the opportunity to speak about this.
Thank you. Mr. Curley.
Harvey Curley, City of Eastpointe. Had a chance to read over the minutes from the last council meeting, and I have read the comments from two of your council members, and I guess if it wasn't such a tragedy, it would be comical. And let me read them, and keep in mind that they had already fired the city manager. So one of the council members said that they are proud of the accomplishments that the city manager has made, and value the professional relationship that they had and been able to develop, a lot of respect for each other, and value all the work that they have done in the city. The other council member said, there has been many great things that happened in the city of Eastpointe, learned a lot from the city manager, and have a great respect for him. Wow. I guess if that's reason to fire somebody, I guess we're all in trouble.
Thank you, Mr. Curley. Mr. Jakubiec.
Alder Jakubiec, Eastpointe resident. In regard to that lady that was talking about the fireworks, amen. I'm still picking stuff up out of my lawn. I had to go on my roof, and it's time to stop it. Okay, it's ridiculous. You know, the people, they fire it and they don't care where the stuff goes. It's not as bad as it was 2 years ago, but it's still bad. We shouldn't have to do that. We shouldn't have to pick up their trash. They should come along with a shovel and a broom and pick the stuff up themselves. Maybe they'd stop doing it. Now, some good news. A friend of mine who lives north of Hall Road came to the cruise with two of his buddies, and they had nothing but good things to say. They loved the cruise. They said it's as good, if not better, than Woodward. There you go, Harvey. And they said they liked the city. It was neat and clean. Something positive, finally. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone else wish to be heard? Anyone else? Seeing none, the first hearing of the public is closed. And you wanted to make an agenda item?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, if I could make a motion to add under unfinished business, item B, discussion on council appointment for the vacancy partial term. And if anyone would like to support that.
Oh,
Support. Okay. You want to take the roll on that?
Councilmember Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido?
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Mayor Pixley?
Yes. Move into approval of the minutes for the regular meeting of June 20th, 2017.
Madam Mayor, I'll motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of June 20th, 2017.
Support.
Move and support. Any corrections? Please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Councilmember Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido?
Yes.
Mayor Pixley?
Yes. No scheduled hearings, couple items under unfinished business. The first one is the second reading and adoption of ordinance number 1141, which repeals the codified ordinances of the City of Eastpointe, Chapter 48, Article 1 through Article 3, which regulates vehicles for hire. Does anyone wish?
A motion, Madam Mayor, to give second reading to and adopt ordinance number 1141, which would repeal Chapter 48, Article 1 through Article 3, which regulates vehicles for hire.
Support.
Move and support. Please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido?
Yes.
Councilmember Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Mayor Pixley?
Yes. And item B is the agenda additional item. Mr. Kleinfeld?
Yeah, I wanted to have a discussion on this because last meeting, we set up the schedule for accepting resumes, when the interview would be, and the appointment. Something that did not occur to me at the time when I looked back, and I think the way we laid it out, I think kind of was a mistake. The appointment would be on the 24th, and petitions are due for seats on the 25th. I think that puts candidates in a really awkward position. If someone were to be appointed, it doesn't give them time if they decided they want to retain that seat to get signatures, because there's less than 24 hours between when that appointment would take place and when petitions would be due. I don't think there was any ill intent, but like just looking at the way it's set up, I feel like it gives the appearance of impropriety to have those deadlines line up like that. And I didn't think it was fair to candidates either, potential candidates who some have filed, but we know a lot of petitions have been pulled, so.
So would you want to move it up then? Because July 25th is the state deadline, not our own deadline.
No, personally, what I would like to see is if a majority of council agree to decide to change their mind and say we're not going to fill the position and leave it open until the election.
Okay. I have one quick comment then. I was just thinking recently, so we would be open then until November, and we wouldn't be able to, just another thing to keep in mind besides probably what we mentioned last time, only one of us can be absent, and if one of us is ever absent, it's 2 votes for everything, so we got like a very small margin of one person can be sick. So then we'd have August, September, October with a 5th person if we appointed someone.
Well, I think the additional thing to consider is the fact that we only had one applicant that submitted an applicant for consideration.
Yeah, if we had had a lot of interest, I wouldn't have
And
brought
I have
this
no,
up.
I have no idea who it is either, and neither does,
But, since we haven't had a lot of interest, and I know there was a delay in some of the posting, I don't know if that went out already, because I haven't.
there was a
seen
delay in the ad in the East Sider.
I just feel the way we lined up the timeline, it seems unfair to me, and seems almost, just, when I saw that, I was like, oh, I hope people don't think that we did
Well,
that on purpose.
I really thought that there were probably people that had applied for that 2-year position, or the 4-year position that would have applied for the appointment. But it doesn't seem like we've created that interest, that most of them are interested in just running.
I think I maybe wouldn't mind, I think I'd like to fill it soon, like maybe give an extra couple weeks if we only have like maybe one person put in, but I think I'd rather see it filled as we've done the last few times than leave it open till November.
Do you want to make
I-
a motion? We can take a vote.
I mean, I disagree with that, just because I think after the 25th, we'll have petitions in and we'll have all the candidates. And the timeline's so small. I was in favor of filling it because I felt like that was our duty, but I only felt that way because it was before petitions were going to be turned in. We would have candidates, and now, after seeing the way the dates line up, I don't feel the same way I did before. So,
Okay.
with that, I mean, I have a motion I'd like to make, and maybe it'll fail, maybe not, but if any,
Please.
I would like to move to direct the city manager to post that the position will not be filled and will be left vacant until the November election. And posting being here and then online.
Mr. Albright, can we do that now that it's been in the press and all?
The council has the option of appointing a council member. It certainly has the duty to appoint a council member, or it can wait till the election if it so chooses.
All right.
Well, there's no support then.
Support.
Well, I mean, you know, if we did the interviews and then, I know at that time, we still might not have a majority to appoint, so I know it's within our
Well, if you
power
only,
not to
if you only
appoint.
have one applicant, it could be
No.
awkward.
Could be awkward.
All right, please call the roll.
Councilmember Kleinfeld,
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
No?
Mayor Pixley.
Yes. All right, we'll start with our reports from administration. Our assistant city manager.
Actually, I'm another one getting back from vacation from last week, so I have nothing to report, unless you have some questions or something you'd like me to look into.
Sure. I've got a couple quick things. I think one thing is with the issue we had recently with the PRV again, just we needed to get a boil advisory alert out. Just in general, not that specific one. I think we should create like an internal policy about how we just go about that, have like a specific checklist, like post on website, send to press, something like that we can follow a little closer and you know, maybe specific if council members are going to get the word out, hope, you know, get that out quick on Facebook. We can share the exact words of, you know, the city on there. Just something that can be a little closer. We have someone assigned to that has access to all these platforms, like Mr. Driscoll. If he's out of town, we have, you know, a backup. Just something like that, so it's a little smoother.
We already have that, and it was employed at 3 a.m. The list is, all the information and the communication is done. Once the mayor declares the emergency, it goes through the police department. And the first sergeant there was excellent. He had all the information, all the media was all notified. The one problem was Nexel. And it took the city manager to get a hold of Nexel the following day. Because it was a holiday weekend, there was a problem getting it on the website, but we had it on Facebook, and I updated Facebook every 10 minutes, all night long, and asked people to share it. So,
Sure, unless I'm mistaken, Nixle, you just log in and post your message. You don't have to talk to someone.
the responsibility of contacting Nexel is with the police department, but we have made additional people to put on that list with Steve Teolis, who can do it from his home, as well as Bill Driscoll is the one that is contact person for all the PR releases. But every TV station had it on the 6 o'clock news, and every radio station, many of them had it on at 3 and 4 in the morning. So if you weren't up, you would not have heard it, but it was on.
We have found a delay when we do send it to Nixle. Some people might get it within the next 5 minutes, and some people get it in the next 2 hours. So we're not sure what that delay part is, but part of that was, my understanding was that. I was out of town at the time, so I'm not sure what all took place. But we have seen that happen. We even looked at it last week in our staff meeting, and I actually got the Nixle response 15 minutes before somebody else did in the staff meeting. So there is a delay on that aspect of it, but for the most part, if everything at night goes through the police department as an emergency.
Okay, I mean, just personally, I think we could have done a little better, so I just see if we could improve
If
that.
you would remember, I sent an email out to all the council informing them what was going on as soon as I found out. That was at 3 a.m. And Michael called me as soon as he was at a phone at 4 in the morning. Sarah called me at 8:30, and you called me at 8:45.
Sure.
So by that time, everybody had been informed. And I had sent emails out to everybody in administration that was specific to the area. So we did notify people, but it was a holiday weekend, and people were gone. So you do the best you can when you have the opportunity.
And then my other item, well, this I could relate to what Mr. Creech said at hearing of the public about the capital improvement projects essentially. Now, we've got two roads that were up, Roxana and Johnson, which are in very bad shape. And we're not, from what I understand from Mr. Duchesne, able to do those streets this fiscal year or next fiscal year, and they'd be pushed off. Now, I've seen in our notes from staff meetings that we are looking at the parking lot at City Hall. To me, and then these two buildings also, which I don't know if I don't recall, but I don't remember either of those. Yes, they're in the budget. We approved the budget with the funds, but then they're supposed to come through city council. We never put anything through city council for either of those. So I'm just saying, I think our priorities are not in order on these because go drive down the blocks of Roxana and Johnson that we're referring to that we need to fix. I mean, they're barely streets. And
Well-
then our parking lot back here,
Part of the
Fine.
problem you have is where the funding comes from. Right now, major and local streets fund major and local streets, and that's where the money, comes from to pay for that. Right now, the parking lot's being paid for partially by general fund and also building authority. So none of that money can be used towards a street project. That's part of the problem we explained at the budget hearing is.
why can't we use general funds for a
Yeah,
street project?
Because we're using general fund monies to, if you get into a situation where you're funding streets with general fund monies, you're taking it out of your operational side of the general fund, and at that point, you'd be ending up trying to pay back the general fund, or it's going to impact your operational side too. I mean, general fund isn't sitting there flush with a whole lot of money.
Well-
I mean, so when you look at those kinds of things, that's why we ended up having to make a major change to the whole CIP on the major and local streets, just because of the funding level we don't have.
What about the two park buildings then? Those will be,
The two park buildings were decided based on the city manager to have some maintenance done to them, because again, he was concerned about some of the money in there. We've been trying to keep our capital per year down to about 250,000 because of the strain on the general fund. This year, you'll notice we have even less than that. We pushed everything back again. And that was also discussed not only at budget, but when we had the CIP, why we kind of pushed that back to look at the funding. But some maintenance has been done on it, which is more than that's happened, over the last several years, and he made that decision to do that versus doing a full capital. On the wayfinding signs being paid out of that, remember, the wayfinding signs were budgeted in 15-16. That got brought forward by the council to move forward with that project in 16-17, so we reapportioned money to cover that project for that expenditure in that project. So that's how that got moved around. So, At this point, the CIP, again, it can be added back in for next year if so chose. But right now, we don't have any major building projects going on for CIP this coming year.
Sure, and I'm not sure how else the rest of council feels, but I've asked a couple times in the past about pitching something to council before we put a bid out, because from what I understand, I think we've put a bid out. The Mitten website changed and I couldn't find it, but for the parking lot, I'm not going to vote to repave our parking lot at City Hall here. It is just not in bad shape when we have other things we could do. And so if we're going to spend our time going out to bid on something, I don't even know if, council is in favor. I mean, that's just me, I'm just one of the 4 or 5 votes, depending on when it is. But that's essentially, this is a very solid example of why I've mentioned that before as a suggestion. So those are my questions for you, Mr. Altimus.
Okay, let's move on to Randy Blum. Welcome back.
Thank you. I'll say I'm glad to be back if you want me to. No. I actually don't have much, but I do have one topic that I wanted to address. I was on vacation last week and came back to hear about the power outage that led to the numerous water main breaks. I was shown videos from the night of June 30th with water gushing up between the joints in the street. Now, this is a classic situation where a road is being washed out from below and a sinkhole could open up, excuse me, without any warning. I then heard about a council person who showed up at an active water main repair work site who was conversing with contractors and employees trying to do their job. And as risk manager, this greatly concerns me. And it seems appropriate tonight, since the approval of the general liability insurance is on the agenda, to reiterate when council, when they are covered by the city's insurances. The short answer is when you are sitting here at this council table. If you are doing something that is outside of your legislative function, you are just another resident in the eyes of the insurance carriers. If a council member goes to a water main break, a sewer collapse, a fire, a police situation, and gets injured, they will not be covered by workers' comp or general liability. Anything other than passing legislation is outside of the role of the city, and insurances will not recognize your actions. Whenever we get a ridiculous lawsuit in, I remind people that anyone can sue anybody for anything. So even if a suit is without merit, you will have to spend your own money defending yourself. So if you go to a situation, previously mentioned, and something happens, and if you get named in the lawsuit just because you were there, you will be on your own just as your neighbor would be. Since you're not acting in the capacity as mayor or council member at that point, the city nor the taxpayers will be defending you. And just wanted to point that out, and that is my public service announcement for Insurance 101. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Well, so I'll address that. You're referring to me. I did go to 10 Mile and I-94, and I couldn't have been 10 feet from a car park getting gas. I was not on the work site, and I did ask a question to the workers there, which I am fully allowed to ask questions, didn't direct them to do anything, asked one question. I bet I wasn't talking to them for a minute. I had previously tried calling the city manager at this point to see what was going on. I was in the city, so I figured I'd go check out what's going on. It's a Saturday. I wasn't at work. Didn't know exactly what was going on. We called a boil water advisory. Figured I'd just go see what's going on. So I stopped by the 4 different places. I post pictures even on Facebook. There was one water main break where we didn't even have it blocked off yet. So, if we're talking about dangerous areas, or someone from St. Clair Shores parked outside there, I was just asking a question. So and also I'm not going to sue the city.
But somebody else could sue the city and include you in it, is my point. Just because you happen to be on site.
Well,
And that's my warning to you. I mean, this is an insurance discussion only. I don't care if you show up or not. I love watching a good disaster. But you are on your own if you're not up here at this table doing your job as council and mayor. And you can get sucked into a lot of problems by being around things that you really shouldn't be around.
Sure.
That was the point of the message.
All right. I understand.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, let's move on to City Attorney, Mr. Albright.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. I wanted to address some of the residents' concerns regarding the fireworks. I know that this topic certainly comes up every time around this time of the year. Unfortunately, this city council is limited in what it can do with regard to the regulation of fireworks. It can essentially ban fireworks during all times of the year except the day before, the day of, and the day after a national holiday. On those 3 days around a national holiday, they can essentially ban the use, discharge of fireworks between 12 a.m. and 8 a.m. in the morning. But any other time on those 3 days around a national holiday is fair game, and the city is preempted by state law to impose any type of ordinance restrictions on the use or discharge of fireworks on those days. But I know that comes up every year around this time. It's been coming up since 2012 when the new legislation was passed. I know our community is not immune from that. It goes on all over the place and all of the other communities as well with the discharge of fireworks. I'm sure that some of the fireworks that are being discharged are not legal under even state law based on the sounds that you hear and the explosions that you hear, but nevertheless they are being discharged, and they are being discharged on days outside of the 3 allowed days as well. But that is something, that is a change that has to come from Lansing. The City Council does not have any power to regulate or essentially ban fireworks on those 3 days, according to state law. And Madam Mayor, I also attended dangerous building hearings today. It was the first day with the city's new hearing officer, and everything went essentially smoothly. We will be having another batch of dangerous building hearings this Thursday here at City Hall beginning at 1 o'clock. The new hearing officer, I believe, will be getting out the reports and orders timely once the transcript is provided by the court reporter. So there won't be any more 3, 4, 5 month time frames where we're waiting for a report and order. I think they'll be issued within 30 days after the actual hearings. And
So are we going to receive an update on the DOJ?
the case is in discovery right now. We are in the process of answering a request to admit and also request for production of documents that were received by the Department of Justice in this case. We have retained the services of N1 Discovery, who has experience in these fields and has been working diligently with city administration to get all the requested documents. Some of the documents are not relevant, and so they have been going through those to see what emails are privileged or not relevant to the requested interrogatories that have been sent out. But we're in the discovery phase right now. Discovery is open through October of this year, and then the first round of discovery will be closed. Our office will also be sending our own discovery requests to the Department of Justice and our own interrogatories to the Department of Justice. We're in the process of putting those together right now.
And when you get that together, will you be meeting with council? So you would share that information with the council?
Any discovery requests that are served on the Department of Justice will also be courtesy copied to all the members of the City Council and department heads of city administration as well.
Thank you.
And the council is also in receipt of our monthly status report. I'm happy to answer any questions that the council may have.
Anyone have questions?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's move on to new business, and our first item is a special event application for the East Detroit High School Homecoming Parade. We have a motion?
Sure, Madam Mayor. I'll motion to approve the special event application for the East Detroit High School Annual Homecoming Parade for Saturday, October 14th, 2017, from 11 a.m. to noon, with the following conditions. Number one, that the East Detroit Public Schools or wait, that should be Eastpointe Community Schools, provide a parade route to the fire department, and that the number two, Eastpointe Community Schools pay the full cost, $1,540 for city services. That Ms. Van Herentz contact Traffic Safety Officer Josh Ignis prior to October 1st and submit the city a general liability insurance certificate naming the city of Eastpointe as additional insured on the policy for this event.
Support?
Move and support. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido?
Yes.
Councilmember Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Mayor Pixley?
Yes. Item B is the bid award for general liability third-party administration agreement for fiscal year 2017-18. Mr. Blum, did you want to say anything in addition?
You've seen the report in the package here. I wanted to highlight that the premium portion actually decreased by over 10%. We have had phenomenal claim results. Part of it is we actually defend ourselves, where a lot of people like to run out and settle. We use the government immunity to our full benefit, and you're seeing that result in the premiums. The net cost will be slightly higher than last year because the dividend refund, whatever they call it, I don't even know what they call it, will be slightly lower than last year. But the premiums themselves have gone down 10.2%.
Okay.
I'll take this one, and I'll keep your comments from earlier in mind, Mr. Blum. And motion to award the bid and authorize the city manager to execute an agreement with the Michigan Municipal Risk Management Authority to administer and provide excess liability insurance coverage for the city's self-insured program for the period of July 1, 2017 through June 30, 2018, and authorize the city's necessary contribution to its loss fund with the total cost of services, insurance, and contributions to be $512,836.
Support?
Move and support. Please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Councilmember Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido?
Yes.
Mayor Pixley?
Yes. Item C is the introduction and the first reading of ordinance number 1142, which represents the fee schedule, and you were given the change orders, and then there's a separate section which shows which fees have been changed. Can we get a motion?
Madam Mayor, I will motion to introduce and give first reading to ordinance number 1142, which replaces the existing city fee schedule and scheduled the ordinance for second reading and consideration for adoption at City Council's July 18th regular meeting.
Support?
Move and support.
I just have one quick question. For the mobile food truck, there's a $36 fee, and then a mobile food truck police department inspection, $35 fee. Is that first one, each truck, you just per year per truck? And then the second one, when do you need a PD inspection?
Well, we based it on the same thing as the ice cream trucks, so they have to be
Okay.
inspected yearly. One of your ordinances that you passed has the allowance of food trucks, so we kind of need a fee to charge them. So
Right.
that, we based it solely on the same thing as the ice cream trucks.
Sure, I just wanted clarification.
Yep.
So essentially, it's going to be $71 a truck then, if you have to do that once a year too? Okay.
Yes.
Did
All
we
right,
get the
sounds good.
chickens in here?
I don't think it's in,
I don't know.
I didn't see it in there. I thought maybe administration was still working to figure out what.
No, it's done and we approved it, but
$75.
no one's applied for it, so
I'll check
Oh.
that and make sure if we need to add it.
Do you see it in there, Cardy?
no.
I didn't, I
didn't see
noticed
it
it
in
wasn't in there, and I thought, we might just
Good
have to
point.
put it in
We
later.
just motion, we already came up with a fee for that, right? I think it
Yes,
was in
we
Yeah,
a
it's in the
70
ordinance itself.
Oh, so can we just amend the motion then, just to add that in also? We've already got it determined, I think.
It
Yeah.
would go under the section related to animals.
Yeah, I'll amend my motion to include the,
Charges for.
yeah, the charges for the chickens under, I believe it's the clerk's, city clerk section.
Okay, and then
Support.
Moved and supported.
Actually, probably fall under building, because the whole ordinance of chickens falls under building, but we'll determine where it is and highlight it for you.
Probably,
Yeah, it
probably
can-
here under animal.
Yeah, I was thinking next to the animals.
Please call a roll.
Councilmember Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido?
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Mayor Pixley?
Yes. And our next item is item D, related to tax reversion properties.
Madam Mayor, I motion to authorize administration to proceed with the purchase of the 2017 tax reversion properties within the city of Eastpointe from Macomb County in the amount of $83,185.76 pursuant to Public Act 206 of 1893, and authorize the city manager to execute all necessary documents related to the acquisition of these properties.
Support.
Moved and support. I had one question. One of the homes is on our demo list,
Yes.
so we're just essentially buying the property. Is that right?
When it's done. Yep. So, yeah, we'll end up with 3 of these being vacant property, or 4 of them being vacant properties when that's demoed.
Okay.
That's happened before.
Yep. We get them
But the
demoed
cost
quicker
of the
that way.
Demolition is paid by,
We can still go after the previous owner if they're collectible, but if they walked away from the home, we're probably not going to get anything.
okay.
So,
All right, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lucido?
Yes.
Councilmember Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Mayor Pixley?
Yes. Item E is the appointment to the Southeast Regional Emergency Services Authority. We get a motion to that effect for Sarisa.
Madam Mayor, I'll motion to appoint Director John McNeilans to the Southeast Regional Emergency Services Authority for the interim period.
Support.
Move and support. Please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido?
Yes.
Councilmember Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Mayor Pixley?
Yes. Item 8 is payroll and bills.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve payment of the bills in the amount of $1,612,594.22.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any questions? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido?
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Mayor Pixley?
Yes. We'll move into our second hearing of the public. If anyone wish to be heard. Mr. Creech.
Yes, Madam Mayor, Council, residents. Here is the adopted budget of 16 and 17. Here's the rest of the budget of 16 and 17. Here's the draft of the Recreation Department. I've had the privilege of reading all these and obtaining one heck of a lot of information. I understand that the council cannot read all this, or maybe, it doesn't have to read all this. But as a resident, I take pride in my city in trying to find out exactly what does go on in it. I had a meeting with Tony Lipinski and Mary Van Haren about our recreation, our rare. It was a pretty good meeting. But the bad thing about this has got a whole lot of old information in it. We revised some wasn't revised, but the same thing about it, the draft. I don't think we have anybody that proofreads any of these things. Because we still own a swimming pool in Kennedy Park with a slide on it. There's a lot of things we still own. Because in 2009, when the last time this was gone through, the pages are still in here in the 16 and 17 budgets. So, for proofreading, there's so many things that I really don't understand. Like I said, even the mayor, maybe she didn't understand it. After I sent this letter to Mayor Van Buren, it says, right here, it says, no bathrooms, restroom facilities, renovations were going to be done, but now on hold. It says restrooms will be available to public immediately. The parks were already 6 weeks in operation We have 4 porta johns sitting out there in front, no sanitizers, no nothing. We have people working there. There are so many things wrong with the situations that no one seems to understand or know or what's going. As I said before too, now we have 3 separate entities. We have East Detroit Recreation, we have Rare, and we have Roseville. Rare's going to be good for the next 20 years because they have our millage. Right now, our recreation, before too, when they joined them together, they must have thought Rare was going to take care of us. Guess what? It's not going to happen. I guess we have one person who was Mary Van Buren, who's supposed to be head of recreation. You give her $621,000 last year for administration. In administration, I asked her these questions and the rest of the stuff. Apparently, it seems to me that she should have been responsible to find out about this capital improvement that we talked about with Cardi. It seems to me that we had the money, or the budget wouldn't have been approved when this went through. And I put out it for you right now to Randy to find out what happened to this $425,000. I think the public should know if we had the money to begin with, where'd it go? And I think the council, as I said, I go through my chain of command to everybody I'm supposed to go through, and they tell me, well, we can't answer it, so you might as well go to the council. Well, here I am. Now I'm talking to the council, and I'm asking questions, and I said, well, let's just go, if you want to, with a draft on a couple situations right here to the council. It says vacancies, and this is going toward the authority. It says, number 1, vacancies shall be filled at the same manner of the original appointment of unexpired time. In the event vacancy of the board, an appointing authority selecting such representative shall fill the vacancy expediently. I don't know, I hope you've already filled the 2 seats for the authority, because it says right here, you're supposed to fill it expediently.
You have 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you. Under obligations of the authority in cities, maintenance, the city shall inspect and maintain the desired parks, facilities, and ensure these sites are suitable for the community activities. We don't even have any bathrooms. And you said under capital improvement, this would be ready. I don't think we still would have any if I wouldn't have come down. I think the mayor actually thought we had bathrooms at Memorial. I went in there when he opened the doors, our plumbing was laying on the floor. There's holes kicked in the ceiling, holes kicked on the walls. There's stall doors that are still missing. There's some of the commodes that are not even operational. And yet we present our city to the rest of these cities and the rest of this stuff as being up and forward. We only have 3 main parks. And
Your time is up.
Amenity, I can go on and read, and this is your work, not mine. Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to be heard? Anyone? All right, second hearing in the public is closed. Move on to mayor and council reports. Let's start with you, Mr. Kleinfeld.
I just want to say I hope everyone had a happy 4th. I definitely did. I had the luxury of being away in Montana, which is absolutely beautiful. I try to go there every year. Yeah, I think that's all I had. Everything else we addressed earlier, so
Thank you.
thank you.
Ms. Sarah.
I only have a couple of library announcements to make. First of all, Cat Orlando Duo will perform Thursday, July 13th at 2 p.m. in the courtyard at the library. And also, anyone who's interested, I heard it's supposed to be a really great time. Usually I don't make it because I have a council meeting. But Sandy and Dan Baker will be holding another trivia contest on Tuesday, July 18th at 6:30 at the library. And that's all I have to report this evening.
Thank you. Mr. DeMonico.
All right, thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, first, I was going to mention again the appointment. Don't need to do that now to City Council, so just make sure if you're interested. There is the special election slot also to fill the remaining 2 years in addition to the 2 regular 4-year slots. So get your petitions in by 4 p.m. on July 25th if you are interested. And then, Council, I think what I wanted to mention from earlier too, the dog tethering ordinance, something we might want to consider. That does sound strange, especially if the police department, I guess, can't currently do anything about that. That does not sound very good to me. I think we all received the Detroit passed an ordinance on it, so maybe we consider that soon. And also, if anyone is interested, my phone, email's always open to talk about the vote for letting the city manager go. So, I have talked to anyone that's contacted me, and if anyone else is interested in discussing it in further detail, please reach out to me. My information's on the council site, or just stop by a meeting here, anything like that. That's all I had, That's all I had, Madam Mayor. Sorry.
Thank you. I would encourage anybody, there are a lot of people that pull petitions. I would encourage you to go out and talk to people, get your petitions signed, turn them in, both for the four-year and the single 2-year position. I know there's a lot of interest and there's a lot of people moving in those directions. So it's good to see a lot of involvement within the community. Mr. Creech, you said the mayor said on an email, and I want to correct that because it was not the mayor, it was Mary, was it not, that wrote, that answered you?
Not email, the messenger. I can say, I
Okay.
met Mary Van Buren through her messenger.
So I know that multiple buildings in the city have been worked on. The maintenance at Memorial Park was something that all the council discussed in November of 2000, and when we were first elected. We went around and checked all the buildings, and that building particularly at Memorial was something that had to be done and it had to be maintained. And I don't know what the delay is, but I know they've been working on it repeatedly when they had a chance, so.
Nothing was done.
It has been, they have worked considerably on it. It's not finished, but every single week in the staff minutes, council has the ability to see that they're working on that as well as with the Patriot building, because it's brought up in the staff minutes to ask the progress on it. So council is on that, and we're following it. I'd like to see it finished before the football season starts, and that's what the big push is. Were there porta potties out there? I don't know, but there should have been, and we can look into that. We can fix that problem. Because wherever there's no restroom, there should be porta potties, because no kid, no worker should have to go home so they can go to the restroom. I'd like to compliment Love Life. Chief, I'm sure you were really happy. I think it went very well. The carnival was well controlled. The crowds were very well controlled. Everything seemed to go really well according to plan. So they worked very, very hard to follow through with working with the police department, and I haven't heard of any incident. I was told that everything worked out really well and that it closed down according to schedule and that everything worked out well. So I'm really glad for Love Life. 4th of July, I didn't get to go to Montana. I was right here in River City. And I can tell you that 4th of July weekend was a doozy. I don't think we've ever had a weekend like that. When I started seeing the water mains just bubbling up everywhere and knew that we couldn't work on some of the water main breaks until we got the power restored. You can't work where you have down power lines, so. Anyway, it was an event, and I'm glad it's over, and I hope it never happens again. All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion. Thank you for your patience with the show cause hearings. Those were really long tonight, but at least we got through them. So I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Support.
Please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Councilmember Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido?
Yes.
Mayor Pixley?
Yes.